This is the last known recording of Mark Blackwood. 3 weeks ago, he, his wife Sarah, and their 6-year-old daughter Emily vanished from their home without a trace. Police found no signs of forced entry, no struggle, just a single antique mirror, its surface cold and silent. Authorities have labeled it a hoax, a desperate prank, but the fragmented data recovered tells a different story, a story that begins and ends with this mirror. What you are about to see is not a film. It is a warning, pieced together from the digital ghosts the Blackwood family left behind. What if the face staring back at you from the glass wasn't yours? What if it was hungry? The Blackwood family's nightmare began subtly, as most true horrors do. It started when Sarah Blackwood inherited her estranged grandmother's estate, a decaying Victorian mansion nestled deep within the New England woods. Among the dusty relics and forgotten heirlooms, she discovered the mirror, a magnificent antique piece with an intricately carved, dark mahogany frame. It was too beautiful, too imposing to simply discard. Against her husband Mark's better judgment, Sarah insisted it be moved into their new home. The moment it was hung in their living room, a palpable shift occurred. The air grew heavy, the shadows seemed to deepen, and their young daughter, Emily, began to talk to an imaginary friend she called the Glimmer Man, who lived inside the glass. Mark dismissed it as a child's vivid imagination, but Sarah felt an icy dread creep into her heart every time Emily whispered secrets to her reflection. The mirror, once a decorative curiosity, was slowly becoming the focal point of their lives, drawing them into its silent, reflective depths. What secrets did the Glimmer Man share, and why did Emily seem to understand them so perfectly? As days turned into weeks, Emily's fascination with the mirror deepened, evolving from innocent play to something far more disturbing. She would spend hours in front of it, murmuring to her reflection, her voice often echoing with phrases Sarah had never taught her, ancient-sounding words that sent shivers down her spine. Mark, initially dismissive, began to notice the subtle changes in their daughter. Emily's once bright eyes now held a distant, knowing look, and she started exhibiting behaviors entirely uncharacteristic of a 6-year-old. She'd speak of events that hadn't happened, or recount conversations she couldn't possibly have overheard. The family dog, a usually placid golden retriever, would snarl and bark uncontrollably at the mirror, its hackles raised, refusing to enter the living room. Sarah tried to cover the mirror, but Emily would always find a way to unveil it, her small hands surprisingly strong. One evening, Sarah overheard Emily whispering, not to her reflection, but to something behind it, promising to open the way. What exactly was Emily promising, and to whom? The unsettling incidents escalated. Mark, a man of science and logic, found himself questioning his sanity. Objects in the house would inexplicably move, doors would creak open and shut, and a pervasive chill seemed to emanate directly from the living room, even on the warmest days. He started noticing subtle distortions in the mirror's reflection, fleeting glimpses of figures in the periphery that vanished when he turned, or his own reflection appearing subtly different, a sinister smirk replacing his worried frown. One evening, while Sarah was out, Mark witnessed Emily standing before the mirror, not talking to it, but through it. Her reflection, however, was not Emily's. It was taller, gaunt, with eyes that burned with an unnatural light, mimicking Emily's gestures with a terrifying delay. The reflection reached out, its spectral fingers pressing against the glass, and Emily, on their side, pressed her own small hand against the cold surface, a silent, horrifying communion. Mark tried to intervene, but a sudden, unseen force slammed him against the wall, leaving him breathless and terrified. What unholy entity was now using his daughter as a conduit, and what was its ultimate goal? Mark's terrifying encounter spurred him into action. He tried to convince Sarah to get rid of the mirror, to smash it, burn it, anything to sever its hold on their daughter. But Sarah, now strangely protective of the antique, refused. Her eyes glazed over with an unsettling calm. Desperate, Mark began documenting everything. He set up hidden cameras, audio recorders, and started a detailed journal, hoping to capture proof of the malevolent entity. The recordings were chilling, faint whispers emanating from the mirror when no one was near. Emily's reflection moving independently, sometimes even mocking her. One night, the cameras captured a horrifying event. Emily, standing before the mirror, her reflection suddenly lunging forward, its spectral hand seemingly pulling Emily into the glass. The feed then cut out, replaced by static. Mark frantically searched for Emily, but she was gone. Only a faint, shimmering distortion remained on the mirror's surface, as if the glass itself had swallowed her whole. What did the mirror truly conceal? And could Mark ever hope to retrieve his daughter from its terrifying depths? Emily's disappearance plunged the Blackwood home into a terrifying silence, broken only by Mark's desperate cries and Sarah's unnerving calm. Sarah, seemingly unfazed by her daughter's vanishing, continued to gaze into the mirror, a faint, almost imperceptible smile playing on her lips. Mark, however, was consumed by a primal fear. He reviewed the footage repeatedly, each frame a fresh stab of horror. The spectral hand, the way Emily's body seemed to dissolve into the glass. It was undeniable. He tried to physically interact with the mirror, to touch the shimmering distortion, but his hand met only cold, hard glass. It was as if Emily had been absorbed into another dimension, a reflective prison. He called the police, but without a body or any tangible evidence, his frantic story of a sentient mirror and a vanishing child was met with skepticism and pity. They suggested grief-induced delusion, a coping mechanism for a parent who couldn't accept the truth. But Mark knew the truth was far more sinister. He was alone in his fight against an unseen enemy, an entity that had stolen his daughter and was now slowly, methodically claiming his wife. What dark power did this mirror possess? And how could he fight something that existed beyond the veil of reality? Driven by desperation, Mark turned to the internet, searching for any mention of similar incidents, of mirrors that consumed. He stumbled upon a forgotten online archive, a digital repository of paranormal phenomena and urban legends. Deep within its dusty digital shelves, he found it, a series of cryptic journal entries from the late 1800s detailing the strange occurrences surrounding a family in rural Massachusetts and their newly acquired antique mirror. The entries spoke of a child, a girl named Alara, who began conversing with her reflection and then, inexplicably, vanished. The archivist, a reclusive historian named Dr. Eris Thorne, had meticulously documented the case, noting the mirror's unique craftsmanship and the unsettling patterns in its frame. Thorne's final entry was chilling, a warning about the mirror's ability to absorb not just reflections, but souls, trapping them in a parallel dimension. He theorized that the mirror was a sentient entity, feeding on the life force of those it ensnared, growing stronger with each victim. Mark felt a cold dread solidify in his stomach. This wasn't a delusion, it was a pattern, a horrifying history repeating itself. But if the mirror was truly sentient, what was its ultimate purpose? And how many others had it claimed before Emily? Mark's research into Dr. Thorne's archives revealed a horrifying truth. The mirror wasn't merely a portal, but a parasitic entity, a sentient void that fed on emotional energy, particularly fear and despair. It didn't just trap souls, it consumed them, growing stronger with each life it devoured. The glimmer man Emily spoke of was likely a manifestation of its insidious influence, a lure for the innocent. The archive detailed how the mirror would first isolate its victims, then subtly manipulate their perceptions, turning loved ones against each other, fostering an environment ripe for its parasitic feast. Sarah's unnerving calm, her protective stance over the mirror, was now terrifyingly clear. She wasn't just grieving. She was under its spell, slowly being prepared for consumption. Mark realized he wasn't just fighting for Emily anymore. He was fighting for Sarah, and ultimately, for his own sanity. The mirror's hunger was insatiable, and it had set its sights on his entire family. How could he break its hold, when its power was rooted in the very fabric of their home, their memories, and their love? Armed with Dr. Thorne's research, Mark formulated a desperate plan. The archives hinted at a ritual, an ancient method to sever the mirror's connection to its victims, not by destroying the glass, but by disrupting its energetic field. It involved specific symbols, chanted incantations, and a precise alignment of celestial bodies, a window of opportunity that was rapidly closing. He knew he couldn't confront Sarah directly. Her mind was too far gone, her will subsumed by the entity. He had to act covertly, to perform the ritual without her knowledge, hoping to free both her and Emily from the mirror's grasp. The stakes were impossibly high. Failure meant not only losing his family forever, but potentially becoming another one of the mirror's eternal reflections. He spent sleepless nights poring over arcane texts, deciphering forgotten languages, and gathering the necessary components for the ritual. The house itself seemed to resist his efforts, shadows deepening, cold spots shifting as if the mirror sensed his intent. He felt its malevolent gaze upon him, a silent, chilling promise of retribution. Could a man of science truly believe in such ancient magic? And more importantly, could he execute it flawlessly before the mirror claimed its final prize? The night of the ritual arrived, a moonless sky casting the Blackwood home into oppressive darkness. Mark, his heart pounding, began the ancient incantations, his voice trembling but resolute. He carefully arranged the artifacts around the mirror, each one pulsating with a faint, otherworldly energy. As he chanted, the air grew heavy, thick with an unseen presence. The mirror's surface began to ripple violently, its reflections twisting into grotesque, fleeting visages of torment and despair. Sarah, roused by the commotion, appeared in the doorway, her eyes wide and unfocused, a chilling smile on her face. She moved towards Mark, her movement stiff and unnatural, as if controlled by an unseen puppeteer. The entity within the mirror was fighting back, using Sarah as its weapon. Mark knew he had to complete the ritual, even if it meant risking Sarah's life. He continued to chant, his voice rising above the mirror's guttural hum, the symbols around the frame glowing with an intense, blinding light. Just as Sarah reached for him, her spectral hand outstretched, Mark uttered the final, powerful words. A deafening crack echoed through the house, and the mirror's surface exploded inward, not into shards of glass, but into a swirling vortex of black smoke and agonizing screams. Had he succeeded, or had he merely unleashed something far worse? The black smoke dissipated, the screams faded, leaving behind a silence more profound than any Mark had ever known. The living room was a wreck, but the antique mirror, though its surface was now a dull, opaque black, remained intact, its ornate frame still holding its sinister presence. Sarah lay unconscious on the floor, her face pale but peaceful, the unsettling smile gone. Mark rushed to her, checking for a pulse, a breath, anything to confirm she was truly free. She was alive. But Emily? There was no sign of her. No shimmering distortion, no ghostly echo. Had the ritual worked? Had he saved Sarah, but lost Emily forever to the mirror's dimension? As he cradled Sarah, he glanced back at the now blackened mirror, and for a fleeting, horrifying moment, he saw it. A faint, almost imperceptible shimmer deep within the opaque surface. And then a whisper, not from the mirror, but from behind him, a child's voice calling his name. He spun around, but there was nothing, only the lingering scent of ozone and dread. Was it Emily, returned? Or was it something else? something that had merely changed its form, its method, its reflection? What if the mirror wasn't just a portal, but a copying mechanism? What if the Emily he thought he saw vanish and the Sarah he just saved were merely reflections, and the true Blackwood family was still trapped, forever gazing out from the other side while their duplicates walked among us, unaware? And what if, just what if, your reflection isn't truly yours, but a silent observer, waiting for its chance to step out?